Yeah, I mean it's supposed to go from kind of quite dark and then to be quite light and then to be quite dark again. To sort of cycle around like that. That's the sort of the aim of it. Oh, yeah, so you have the red, which is meant to be like the dark side, which is the sun, and then it goes through blue, through Lesser Eminence and that, and then goes through to the light blue, which is going to be quite nice, and then it goes back round to be quite dark again. And that was the idea, would be the two moons would cycle round and the sky would change from red to blue and then back to red again. That's what the artwork is. I didn't draw it, I can't really draw, but I kind of told them what to draw. A guy called Drew Heffron, really cool guy in New York, did it. Sun's like another version of sun really. It's kind of almost it backwards, but it kind of has the opposite mood, I feel. It's quite like uplifting, whereas sun is quite down. So that's the point. I still get booked to play in clubs quite a lot. And sometimes when I turn up, but sometimes it's really good and it really works and it plays sun and it's quite, because it does kind of work in a club, but then sometimes it gets a bit like people don't really know what to do. But it wasn't really a conscious decision to be like, wasn't really that much of a fuck you to all the other stuff. But, and I will carry on making club music after this. But that's just what I wanted to make, and that's what came out. So I was saying earlier about the planet thing, that's the name, maybe the name of the planet, and then in the future we're gonna go ahead and build onto it and like add things to it and hopefully have like a series of animations and build on it. That's the goal, to make like a real visual sort of, you know, like kind of short films sort of thing to go with it. So we needed like a setting, and the EP's point is to sort of set the scene to start with the moons, and then everything else builds on it. But the name, it comes from like a Japanese aesthetic, but that wasn't so much the main reason, but more just kind of fits nicely. I've never actually been to Japan, never been lost in Tokyo. Yeah, I like the idea of it. It kind of seems completely different. It seems a lot more like robotic. I don't know. I've liked my idea of it more than I imagine what it actually is like. I don't think I'd ever want to go because I have this kind of weird vision of what I think it might be like. I'm trying to really eliminate all sort of human interference, so I want to maybe work with computer voices and stuff like that and really just make it entirely electronic. So I don't think I'm going to work with any more real vocals. The sampler stuff's completely separate. The short stories project, like completely different thing. We'll see, maybe see more of that. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's important to have a coherent sound, and you can work around it and add to it and take away. But it's always, you don't want to make stuff that sounds completely different all the time. Also I really like working with only a few things. It's so easy kind of just to overproduce something and add loads of little things and trickles in here and there, and I don't know. I think there's more to be said for something that's really simple and kind of really raw, because it took so long to make that EP because I kept fanning around making it really too complicated and adding loads of bits, and then eventually I went back with the really earliest versions of everything because they're really just the raw ideas, and some people have been a bit funny about it, saying that it's quite like, because it's so simple, it's like, yeah, but I think I kind of prefer that, really. I don't really like drums. No, I find them quite, I don't know, every time I use drums I just feel like it's been done 100 times, like it's standard like hi-hats and snares and everything. So I'd quite like to get into making dance music without using stuff like that, like without using snares and kicks, and instead like using like sound pressure and stuff like that. I've been trying a lot of different things, but see, I make all my music inside the box near enough, and it's kind of all made on a computer, so I think trying to bring it into a big live show and having a band playing it is kind of counterproductive. You know, it's kind of it doesn't really make any sense because it's never lived there. It's always lived as being small edits on a mouse, and it's like how it's always been done, so it kind of really is stupid really to, I don't think it would translate to have a big live show. So I'm trying to work on really working with nice, like clean sound sources, so actually having things running live, like the sound like a real synth or like a real feedback loop or something, but like actual sound instead of just triggering audio samples off. But I don't want to have it being played by people so much, because that's not how it's supposed to be, super rigid. It's supposed to be like exactly square and quantized. It's not meant to be like human and free. So it really wouldn't make sense.